Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are moving on to a new topic. We are still in Module 4 and we are still talking about decimals, but we are moving on to topic B, which is about adding and subtracting decimals. So tonight we're starting on page 59, which is lesson 9, and we're going to start by taking some notes about when we add decimals. So when you add decimals, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to add a decimal to the end of either number missing one. So what does that look like? That looks like if I'm adding these two numbers, if I'm adding two numbers and one of them is missing one, I need to make sure they both have a decimal. So for example, if this is what we're adding, if we're adding 54 plus 23 and 2/10, then what we need to do is this has a decimal and this one doesn't, so I need to add one to the end. So we need to add one to the end because both of our numbers have to have decimals. So that's step one. Both of your numbers have to have decimals. And we always add it to the end because it doesn't change the value then. Okay, step two is we're going to set up problem vertically, which vertically means up and down, lining up the decimals. So we're going to set up our problem vertically, lining up the decimals. Our next step is we're going to add placeholders to create kind of like a box. I'm putting it in quotations because kind of like a box. And then our final step is we're just going to add. We're just going to add. Okay, so take a moment if you need to pause the video to get your notes done, but these are the notes we're going to be using for this whole topic. Okay, so I'm going to get started. So we're going to only do some of the problems together. So we're going to do number 2. So step 1, they already both have a decimal. Step 2 is I'm going to set up the problem vertically, lining up the decimals. So we have 2 and 4/10 plus 5 and 7/10. Okay, step 3 is create like a box. There already is kind of this imaginary box around them. I don't need to add any placeholders because if I look there, there's already like a perfect box. So then step 4 is I'm going to add. So my decimal goes like that, and I have 4 plus 7 is 11. 2 plus 5 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So my answer is 8 and 1/10. And my decimals get lined up and just carried down. Okay, let's skip down to number 6. So number 6, I have 4 and 97/100, and I have 1 and 6/10. So I set it up, lining up my decimals. Again, I don't need to add any placeholders because I already have this kind of imaginary box. So now I'm just ready to add. So 7 plus 6 is 13. 1 plus 9 plus 0 is 10. 1 plus 4 plus 1 is 6. So our answer is 6 and 3/1000. Okay, we're going to turn to lesson 10, which is page 65, and do a few more. Okay. So on lesson 10, we have, here they're showing us what they have. So I have 2/10. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/100. And they're adding 1/10 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/100. Okay, it says circle to show when you can compose a unit. We're just going to use our same method. So they've already set it up for me. I'm just going to carry down my decimal. And I have 7 plus 5 is 12. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. And 0 plus 0 is 0. So our answer is 0 and 42 hundredths. Okay, we're going to skip down to number 3. So number 3 says add using the standard algorithm. So again, they both have decimals, so we don't need to add any decimals. So they lined it up vertically, lining up the decimal. But notice in this one, there's kind of an empty spot. So this is where I would want to add my placeholder. So I want to add a placeholder there. And that's a really good habit to get into for when we start having more complicated problems or we start subtracting. So it's a really good habit to get into, to add those placeholders so then we have our nice perfect box. Okay, so I have 9 plus 0 is 9, 7 plus 4 is 11, and 1 plus 0 is 1. So our answer is 1 and 19 hundredths. 1 and 19 hundredths is our answer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is our video for the night. So you really want to work on knowing those 4 steps in your words. So you don't have to memorize my exact words, but you do need to memorize kind of the idea behind those exact words. So that we add decimals if one's missing, we set it up vertically, lining up our decimals, we create a box and we add. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.